Shalom lekulam. Hello to everyone. Welcome to our lesson on the weekly portion of Parshat B'Midbar. B'Midbar is the beginning of the book called normally in secular circles as Numbers. But the word B'Midbar doesn't mean numbers. What the word B'Midbar actually means is in the desert. Sometimes we're gonna have that most of the portions or weekly portions are gonna have names of are named with the words that are in the beginning, like the first word, second word, or third word. In this case, it's the fifth word. So the first verse of this portion say Vedaber Adonai el Moshe B'Midbar Sinai. So it's talking about the wilderness of Sinai, or the desert of Sinai. So the name B'Midbar in this book just means a setting where this actually happened and what happened while they were waiting in the wilderness, while they were in the wilderness or the desert in this case. The Parsha, it's basically based in the commandment of the Creator God telling Moshe to take a census of all the families of Israel according to their heads and heads of the family and all that. And that is very interesting because the Kabbalists tell us that the reason this census was taken was in order to raise the Shekhinah. So we ask ourselves, how does this have to do anything with the Shekhinah? So the Kabbalists tell us the following: that we need to see this portion, B'Midbar, as the following. The counting has nothing to do with how many people there were. And if we go deeper into that, they're just telling you that each family is basically like a parsuf, and the kind of development or tikkunim that it has developed and all that, and what kind of works have been happening inside that parsuf by the light, right? But the most important part is this, that when it mentions each of those names, it's just telling you that each of these names have a place within the Bnei Israel, the son of Israel. So inside the Bnei Israel, we have these people that are mentioned in this census. And the whole thing is for us to meditate that we, as Kabbalists, as people that are reaching or trying to reach spirituality, we're reaching to God, that we want to be Israel, Yashar El, we want to be directly towards Him, towards the Creator. We need to be counted in that census as well. This census didn't happen thousands of years ago. This census still happens today. It still happens today. Every time we include ourselves and we work hard in order to achieve spirituality, we're included in this census. The only problem is that we don't accept our level or position within this census. So we're not counted. We're not counted in this level in this census because we want to set the levels of each spiritual soul that is being born in this planet, and we don't accept ours either. So if we don't accept ours and we neither accept the other one, how do we fix that? We need to make sure that we think the following when we read this portion, and is that each soul of those people who are considering themselves part of Israel, they need to understand that they come from 600,000 root souls that came from Adam Harishon, the first Adam. We are part of that collective soul called Adam Harishon, and that each of us came from a different part of his neshama, his soul, his spiritual soul. And each of us have different levels of working the tikkun, the fixing of this soul of Adam and putting it back together. That if you are a shoulder, you cannot be a hand. If you are the left hand, you cannot be the right hand. So each of us need to accept where we are. That means that in this case, we need to accept also all differences, because our differences are mere perceptions and not the reality that is that the Creator, wants us to understand and learn. So the Kabbalists tell us that Israel, the name Israel, can be rearranged as Li Rosh, for me ahead, or creating ahead for me. So they also tell us that when you take each letter of the word Israel and you spell it like the Yod as Yod, Shin as Shin, the Rosh as Rosh, the Aleph as Aleph, and Lamed, you take away the first letter of all of these, and the remaining letters will give you the number 535, which is the same as Rosh Dal, which is lowly head, implying that when we worked in order to become Israel, in order to be counted in this census, the forces of impurity, the klifot, are actually becomes low. The forces of them becomes low. They don't have any force against us, because we're working with vessels of bestowal. We're not working with vessels of reception or egoistic vessels. So the commandment to Moshe was the following. He said, Seu et Rosh. Seu et Rosh. Take a census. The initial letters can be arranged also as Rosh. So it's telling you this word is very important, the word Rosh. In fact, it says that the word Rosh, when you spell it backward, is an acronym for Shekhinah Ar Ram, the Shekhinah of the lofty God. Which means that by doing the census, and basically by us working and being part or being counted in this census, we are actually raising the Shekhinah and also lowering the power of the Klipot, of the dark forces. The Kabbalists also tell us that we need to understand that doesn't matter which level we are, doesn't matter where we think we are, doesn't matter if we think we're less than somebody else, that we're better than somebody else, or that we think that somebody else is better than us or less than us. That's nonsense. Everyone has a position in this system that is very important. Each of us need to do a work that is equally important as those who came from probably higher root souls. The whole point is this. The Kabbalists tell us that in the Mishnah, Sanhedrin 37a, tell us that we need to think the following way, that each person must think to himself, the world was created for me. Everything was created for me. The whole system, this whole thing that I'm living, whether I consider it good or bad, it was created for me to advance, for me to become part of this Yashar Kel, Yashar El, directly to God, to be directly, with God. So understand that in order to be counted, you need to become Israel, right? And to be Israel, you need to be a head, not a tail, right? So we need to work in our inner vessels, especially those vessels that are considered egoistic, and understand that sometimes it will mean, that emotional pain, physical pain, all that stuff will manifest, but that necessarily means, that we are separated from God. It's just a manifestation of something else that has happened. It's in spirituality, meaning that I'm lacking something, and that lacking something might be, that I need to connect more, that I need to do, something interesting, and that something interesting is accept what the Creator has given me. When you accept, you are receiving. Well, receiving, that's where the word Kabbalah comes from. You're receiving what the Creator is giving you, and therefore your whole perception of reality is going to change. You need to purify your vessels of reception to vessels of bestowal. You need to change your intention of being part of the nations, meaning having egoistic desires that will reach nothing other than just satisfying the animal in us, the physical body, and the wants and not the needs of our egoistic desires. And when you reach that level in which you are changing the intention into an intention to receive what the Creator has given you in your life and accept the level of spirituality, that your position in that spiritual soul that is called Adam Harishon, that you belong to that root level and you cannot be any other root level, that root soul level, you will be more clear in what you need in life. And nobody knows if you are part of the right hand, the left hand, right shoulder, left shoulder, or if you're part of the head, or things like that. Nobody knows. We're in concealment. If we are in concealment, we will not know these things until we achieve spirituality, until we attain it properly. Okay. In the meantime, we need to work in becoming Israel. Israel is Rosh Li. Create a head for me. I had to create a head. And when we study Kabbalah, we know that in the head is where all the calculations are performed in order to receive the light of the Creator. That's what we need to think about. Intention. So we need an intention to receive spirituality. So I'll leave you with this. B'Midbar is a Parshat that is talking about different families, different heads of houses and everything, and numbers of people. These are just calculations, sensations, and corrections within each of these parsufins inside the big parsuf called Bnei Israel. But for us, something that we can do practically is, if we want to be counted in that census, we need to become part of the Bnei Israel. I'm not talking about converting to Judaism. It's not about religion. It's about spirituality. It's about Yashar Kel. It's about directly to the Creator. Yashar, direct, El, God. Unless you want to continue being part of the nations, and being part of the nations, it just means you're not the head. But if you want to be part of Israel, it's a lot of tikkunim, a lot of corrections that you need to do. But first, you need to accept the level that you are. And for some people, the level that they are is the level of Israel. Some people, the level is the level of the nation. There's nothing you can do. You know, there's some people in the nations that are righteous. And when I say righteous, I'm talking about nations, egoistic vessels, and righteous about these levels of altruistic desire mixed with egoistic desires. So I'm not talking about physical things in here, okay? But you need to think about that. I create a head for myself. This head is this rush is what the creator wants us to be. Be a head, not a tail. The counting is symbolically meaning that also I need to be included in these senses by me changing my desires from being from the nations to be Yashar Kel, to be directly towards him. And also that I need to accept the level of my soul that I was born with. I need to accept also the level of the soul that other people were born with. I cannot be those people, and those people cannot be me. Yet, we're one collective soul called Adam Harishon. So, meditate on that through all this week. And I'll see you on the next lesson, the next Parsha. And have a good week. And if you're seeing me before Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom.